Alrighty, welcome to episode 234 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla has finally released its version 4 supercharger power cabinet. This upgraded cabinet has a total energy capacity of 1 to 1.2 megawatts and can charge Tesla semis at 1.2 megawatts or Tesla cars at 500 kilowatts. The upgraded cabinet can also feed 8 stalls, twice the capacity of the V3 cabinet. Tesla Australia has announced that Australian and New Zealand owners have travelled 1 million kilometres with FSD supervised in less than 2 weeks, equivalent to about 67 laps of Australia. In welcome news for Hardware 3 owners, Tesla has extended its FSD transfer window out to the end of this year. Anyone who has a current Tesla can transfer enhanced autopilot or full self-driving to a newly ordered, new or demo Tesla, provided it's delivered no later than the 31st of December 2025. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and once again welcome to the program. And as is customary, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please unmute and say hello. Or perhaps a little bit later.
All the excitement's worn off, Harold.
Yes, we've peaked early. I think the first 200 episodes were really good, and now we're kind of tapering. No, that's not at all true. Now, obviously, there is great news. I dare say it's fairly predictable, but Tesla has extended the FSD and enhanced autopilot transfer window out to the end of the year. So, notwithstanding anything we might hear what might be happening in the States actually, no, that's not true. That was a false rumor. So if you have FSD on a hardware 3 car, or even enhanced autopilot because you sort of went halfway, I guess this is another opportunity, or yet another opportunity, to, rather than punish yourself and go into the great unknown of when my hardware 3 car will be upgraded to FSD, if I've paid for it, or if I rent it, subscribe to it, you can just live once and go, bugger it, I'll just buy a brand new hardware 4 Model 3 or Model Y. So that opportunity now exists until the end of this year. So
Is it my understanding that the Model Y performance is snuck under the LCT threshold now?
Oh, gee, Ken, you know what? That is literally something I have not looked at, but we're going to do that
I think I
right
checked that.
now.
I'll check it as well. So
Yeah,
very good
cool.
excuse to buy a Model Y performance.
No, the only problem is you won't get it in time, Ken, because the Model Y performance is not due until
does it have to
next.
ship by end of calendar?
No, it has to arrive.
Yeah,
So it has
right.
to be
Okay.
delivered. It has to be delivered.
Yeah, right.
So if
Okay.
we go to
Forget I said anything.
so forget but we might as well, for the purpose of checking if this website will actually work. Yes, we are Australia, and we want to order now. We'll just check
I thought they'd been quite
WA.
clever and snuck the price of the performance. I think you have to get it in white, but if you go to the detail,
View breakdown.
yeah,
Yes, there is
there's no LCT in there.
no LCT. Now let's just check if we go, say, a different color. Let's just go the worst color. I mean, the nicest color, but the worst price.
I don't think the price changed, did
Oh,
it?
it didn't, did it?
So there you
Wow,
go. Other
that's
than
3
use Model Y
colors.
performance, you can get any color you like.
Okay, so let's go black and white
Okay,
interior,
yeah,
and
that's
just for the
blown it.
sake of it, I
Yeah,
think
you can't go white. White's going to kill it.
that's going to kill it.
Yeah, you're now
LCT,
snuck in.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
So the cool
just.
thing is you can get a Model Y performance in any color and package it
With the black
with no
interior.
FBT.
Yes. So so if you don't have FSD, then that's a very compelling thing if you want to get the performance. Because to be honest, that was a real barrier if you are employed by a business that's prepared to do a novated lease, or you own your own small business, because the zero rating for fringe benefits tax is one of the most compelling uh, tax-based incentives to own an EV that exists, uh, especially if you're on a slightly higher salary or you have your own business, because you don't
Yeah.
have to faff around with personal/business use. You don't need a logbook. Again, get your own financial advice, but this is just generic. You don't need to bother with, you can just declare it 100% personal use. It's all zero rated for FBT. The only thing that counts is you have to report what's called the reportable fringe benefit, which can affect some concessional super amounts and a couple of family tax benefits. But obviously,
Yeah.
seek your own advice. But yeah, so that's good, Ken. Not good if you've got a car with FSD that you want to transfer to the performance, because it's absolutely guaranteed to not arrive. It says December to February, but no one believes it's going to be December, and
Fair enough.
you should not order it on that basis if you're relying on a FSD transfer.
Yeah.
Oh, there was also other bit of news that I didn't mention in the news, and that was that Tesla has removed the option to purchase enhanced autopilot for any vehicle. So what that means is, if you already have enhanced autopilot, of course, if you look in your Tesla app under accessories, I think it's called accessories on your app, and it's software. Uh, Full self driving would only cost you an additional $5,100 if you've already got enhanced autopilot, but you can't buy it now if you haven't got it, which is basically indicating, in Tesla's opinion, FSD is the proper path to go, or is the real path that everyone is going to go if they want to go that way. All right, well, that's enough of me. Oh, sorry, Huffy's, you got your hand up.
I just wanted to introduce one of my friends, Richard, who I've pulled along to the meeting. I'll just probably get him to introduce himself. He took a drive in the FSD last week, and I'll let him speak for what he felt it was like.
Yeah, go, Richard. I can't see a Richard on in the room, but maybe it's someone else, a different name. Yeah, Richard, are you there? No, he might not be there yet. Oh, I saw some movement. No, he might not be there yet, Huffy. So hopefully Richard can join us shortly. But we'll certainly uh, let Richard know what it's going to take for us to get him into a Tesla tonight, and it won't be too difficult. All right, but yeah, please, Huffies, when he does come on, let me know.
Yes, I will.
All right, anyone else got any questions or comments?
I've got a quick technical question.
Yes, James.
I'm driving the country towing the caravan, but today I was going for a road trip without the caravan, and I kept on getting lots of forward collision warning, red, not FSD, just on autopilot, and road was clear, nothing on the road, open wide, and probably in the hour drive, I probably had about 10 of them forward collision. So I did the report bug. It said it's my app, but what do I do now to get that to Tesla to tell them what's going on here?
Okay, so if you've done a bug report using the voice command, that really just puts in a placeholder or a timestamp that they can search.
All right.
So then you're best off putting in a service request to say that you've done bug reports on that day or within that 1 or 2 hour span. Obviously you would have checked, well, hopefully you would have checked that your cameras are clear, mainly the front ones.
I was going to say it wasn't actually caused by an actual bug.
Yeah, a bug's guts.
No, it happened driving to the place. So I cleaned the window when I got there and checked the cameras, and then it happened on the way back as well. So
yep.
But I've got an update pending because I'm country. I don't want to do the update until I'm back home.
You're right, and that's not FSD. That's just autopilot, obviously.
Yeah, just autopilot.
Yep. Yeah, that's the best way, James. Just yeah. Which is a great time to upgrade. if you can afford it.
No,
Not financial
when you did the
advice.
bug report, yeah, when I did the bug report, it kept on saying like, "Oh, this is now available in your app on your service app," but I've been looking through, I can't find it anywhere.
You mean the bug report is, or
Yeah, well,
something?
I obviously I had no passenger in the car, so I couldn't get them to take a
Yeah.
photograph of the screen.
Yep.
But when you
Yep.
say bug report, and it says like, "Thank you for that bug report. This is available in your Tesla app in this under service," but I can't see it anywhere. But you're saying it's just available to when I put it
Yes,
in.
and something I've heard too, or sorry, that I've learnt, is that also if you honk the horn, that is also a searchable logged event. So
Right.
uh, if there was some reason for you to honk the horn, that is also a searchable thing. But the bug report is as well. So maybe
Right. Well, I just
just
put the service request in and say, yeah,
multiple forward collision warnings
yep,
and the time of
Yeah,
day.
there is a specific service catalog for a category for software and autopilot
yep,
for issues like that. So submit a
yep.
request for service that way, and that'll get some attention.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I just thought, oh, I must be able to tag those things saying it's these things,
Yep.
but I couldn't find anywhere to tag the
Yeah,
specific bug
it will
report.
still give the service team, as Harold
Yep,
said, the ability to look back
yep.
through your car's logs and
Okay,
tie up your report with actual events. So it's good that you still did it, but it
yep.
doesn't at the time submit anything. So you have to tie it to an actual service report. So yeah,
Okay,
put in a
will
software and
do.
autopilot service report and
Yep.
reference that you did a bug report at the time, and they should be able to find the logs.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Oh, Mike.
I think Terry Philpo was waving his hand manually first before me, Harold, if you want to.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. Okay, Terry, go, and then Mike.
Right. G'day, guys. How you going?
Yeah, good. Thanks.
I got my full self-drive. Love it. Love it to death, actually. I don't never driven so much in my life. But anyway, I love my new Jupiter with full SD. But does anyone know what's happening with summons?
No, so that's
My
something.
old car had summons, and yet this one doesn't.
Yep, that's right. So all the hardware for cars haven't had proper summon for a long time, and Tesla has been
Ever.
promising to, yeah, which is a long. Yes, that's right. Also known as ever.
Yeah, it's funny, Terry, you should mention that. I nagged Harold about that just this week.
Oh, did you? Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, so as it happens, Tokyo has a quarterly meeting with the heads of Tesla in Australia, and that's coming up next Thursday. So not tomorrow, but the one after. And yeah, that will be a definitely a question to be asked, as well as the obvious question, which is there any indication of what's happening to Hardware 3, FSD, aspirants?
Yes, yeah, a few people. My person who bought my car is already asking me my questions. When can I have full FD? Oops, I said not now, but later, maybe.
Yeah, yes, you have it. It's been purchased.
Yeah,
It's in the car.
yeah.
So Terry, when did you get your car?
About 4 weeks ago. It's one of those launch models. The launch with the little badge at the back.
So
I was one of the first on the first delivery.
so you didn't transfer the FSD from your old car to your new car?
No, it wouldn't let me. Not even advanced autopilot. They said no.
Oh,
I
okay.
wrote
Must
a
have been
letter
just the
to-
wrong timing then, perhaps.
Yeah, I wrote a letter to Tesla
Yep.
about it, and yeah, nothing came out of it.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. I got it off the guy who bought my car, charged him $5,000 extra.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no worries. And like I said, that person will, anyone who has got Hardware 3, in time, you will absolutely get FSD. What's not known at this stage is whether that will be via a crushed down, modified software revision.
Stack.
Yep. Or whether it'll be new hardware. Either way, Elon Musk and by extension Tesla has promised that there would be no cost to Hardware
cool.
3 owners. The only cost there obviously is time. So that's one thing we don't know at the moment. We have no idea of any sort of time frame. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if Tesla really knows themselves. And like I said last week, the issue is in the States, Hardware 3 cars do have a form of FSD, a version of FSD, supervised, but that's because that's all they had originally when they first developed it, and then they progressed on to Hardware 4. In Australia, it's the opposite. Tesla is rightly picking the low-hanging fruit, implementing FSD supervised on Hardware 4 because it's easier, and then obviously we'll all find out whether or not they can crush it down to Hardware 3 or bite the financial bullet and just upgrade the computers for those who have bought it.
It's
Those of
interesting.
you-
It's interesting this week that there's been conversation about the cost-reduced AI4 computer. I wonder personally whether that's part of a process to building a retrofittable one as well. So they're chip reducing it and doing some work to make it cheaper to manufacture the AI4 computer, which is great.
And to be honest, that's why in my opinion, I think it's a 40-60. I think it's a 40% chance of software update and a 60% chance minimum of hardware update. Because I don't think Tesla wants to produce let's call it an inferior FSD. They really have always promised it would not just be as good as a human, but to be a fair bit better. And I just don't see that Tesla is going to be all that motivated into accepting a bare pass, dare I say, perhaps. But then who knows? I mean, they are having lots of innovation with the way they can quantize. So you crush down rather than doing floating point, 32-bit floating point down to 8-bit, down to 6-bit, down to 4-bit, and many other techniques such as sparsity, whereby if most of what your computer is computing is rounding down to nothing, just literally cancel it out so you don't have to do those calculations and then just move on. But we just don't know.
One final question. I don't know if you got time, but can some of you share the full FSD the strangest things that's happened that you had to take over?
The best thing for that is if you watched last week's episode, so for the first 40 minutes, it's on YouTube. So if you just search TOCWA, just TOCWA, on YouTube. So we spent about, it was more than half an hour actually, it was a masterclass on FSD, and it went through the good, the bad, and the ugly, basically, and the pro tips on how to use it. So rather than re-ventilating that now,
no, it's fine. I was just curious.
But the very shortest thing is, yes, it will go through some red lights, so watch out. It'll cross over double white lines, so watch out. But it does a lot of things that are really awesome. And once you get the nuance of it, but you always literally are in control, and you are deemed to be in control, and you need to be paying attention because this is the first release. It's the worst it'll ever be. The subsequent ones will be infinitely better, but you do need to watch out. But yeah, do have a look on YouTube or on X actually. That was posted up last week.
Okay, cool.
All right, so we've got Mike, and then we'll go to Paul.
Well, I had a call to go south of Mandurah a few days ago. And for all you regular up and down from Bunbury drivers, this is the longest trip I've done in the three, because being retired now, I don't go anywhere. Anyway, the interesting thing was that I have the 22 Model 3 all-wheel drive with enhanced autopilot. And I just wanted to confirm that when it's not on what it thinks is the Kwinana freeway, the automatic lane change is not available, or it's partially available, because it kept telling me it's not available when I was far enough south. But lane change via manual indication worked fine.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
navigate on autopilot is limited to certain gazetted
Yes.
freeways and highways. So on the freeways within Perth, as well as Tonkin Highway, and some of Roe Highway, as I understand it. Outside those areas, yeah, you have to change lanes all by yourself like a caveman.
Yes, I know, terrible. What's interesting, Ian, our fearless Open Street Maps appears to be also there, because Kwinana Freeway goes right into a large section of the Forest Highway, again, as you guys probably know. So it's going Forest Highway, but the system still thinks it's Kwinana Freeway. And the same, the reason I picked it up was it was a bit odd going down there, the traffic was going, and coming back. It was just, I was trying to overtake and it wasn't doing what it should have done. I was getting, what am I doing wrong here? And then all of a sudden it just went beep, 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 beep. And it showed me the proper blue line and all the rest of it. And it didn't moan that it wasn't available anymore. And I figured, yes, guess what? There's something which is telling it this is now Kwinana Freeway, even though it's still.
It's an arbitrary definition that Tesla just adopts. So, and that's a limitation that FSD doesn't have whatsoever. It'll overtake on anything.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes when you don't want it to, but anyway.
I just wanted to confirm that it wasn't me going stupid.
No. And in fact, there are some frustrations if you use semi-automatic lane changing, whereby you just indicate and it changes. It will often, you'll either change lanes to either the right or the left, but not vice versa, depending on where you are, which can be quite frustrating as well.
That was it.
Yeah, and that it's as good as autopilot is. It's nowhere. Yeah, it's just chalk and cheese.
All right.
Compared to
I just wanted to confirm. I understand. You know, we're regular here with you guys now, and I understand. I just wanted to confirm that it wasn't me doing something stupid.
No, not at all.
What you experience is what you would expect on that road. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Good. Thanks, guys.
Now I think. Oh God, we got so many hands. Okay, so I'll go. I'll go Paul, and then Peter, Huffies, and Bruce. No, and Norm. Jeez. Yeah, all right. Go, Paul.
I'll be quick anyway. I just wanted to bring up the casual meetup this Sunday.
Oh yes.
Busso. Figure say it early in the piece as opposed to the end of the show.
Yeah, so it's Busselton Pavilion at 11:30 Sunday morning.
Yep.
Bearing in mind that the Busselton supercharger, the 4-stall supercharger, is about 100 metres down the road. So anyone adventuring from, it sounds ridiculous to say adventuring because it's not an adventure, it's just a drive. Anyone driving from Perth can easily just top up a little bit at Busselton, or you could even just go down to Busselton if you want, just recharge back at Eton or whatever.
It's a solid 8-hour drive for me, so I might need to supercharge on the way. Possibly, Ken.
Yeah, indeed. But you know, that's our furthest. It's our furthest casual meetup I think we've had from the CBD. So it would be fair
we
to
did
have a northern
Lancelin
one
once.
Yeah,
but I think Busso's further than that.
Busso's further, yeah. So
Harold, I thought we had one at Barclay Homestead.
Yeah, we did, but only 2 people could be bothered turning up, Pete. I don't know.
Yeah, that one doesn't count.
No.
Very good. Okay, yeah, thanks, Paul. Yeah, so that's the Busselton Pavilion, 11:30. It'll probably, if you're on our email list, you would have already gotten the email on Monday, and if you're on Facebook, someone will post that up, no doubt. But basically, it's the Busselton Pavilion, 11:30 this Sunday. Let's go. I better go. Norm, Colin, Bruce, Pete.
Harold, I just wanted to mention about exiting a roundabout. My car seems to indicate automatically every time it exits a roundabout using FSD.
Wow, until it doesn't, because it will surprise you depending on the roundabout. If you've got if you do the same roundabout, it often does the same thing, but not always. And there is definitely variation. There are some roundabouts where it behaves quite impeccably. Some, if you're going straight, it will indicate to the right as it enters it, which is kind of not quite correct. Well, sorry, it's not correct, but it will indicate left as it exits it, which is correct. but it does vary a lot, Norm.
Okay.
Cool, very good. All right, Colin.
Hey, thanks, everyone. Just one comment, Harold. You said you were having your meeting with Tesla next week.
Yes.
Can you please raise with them the navigation map data around the Wilman-Wadadi Highway around Bunbury? Because it still hasn't been fixed, and it's a joke now. Like it opened in December, and it's dangerous if you drive on that road now on navigation. It does all sorts of stupid things.
Yeah, it does. So what it does is the blue line actually faces away from you downwards if you've got your map facing in the direction you're driving, and it actually lengthens towards you, but in the opposite direction. So in other words, as you keep going forwards, the road that's to the left and facing downwards, that blue line keeps sort of kind of getting longer, and it tries to meet up to the car until it hits like it crosses over, and then it does something else weird, and it'll try and get you to turn off stuff, and yeah.
It's
Look,
just it's terrible.
The problem is, I know the answer they're going to give, which is they do updates basically twice a year, and it's contingent upon the data that's fed into the navigation. It's contingent on the navigation data being up to date, and that's something they can't do. They just source that from a third party, and apart from them saying to that third party, try harder, there's probably nothing they can do. But we'll definitely raise it.
They could go to a better third party. That's something
that'd probably cost more money.
Exactly, Colin.
I think the problem is
it's a joke. Like it opened in December. It's now October. Like, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, Google gets it correct.
Yeah, that's what's most confusing about it, is the map has the highway and everything on it perfect.
Yep.
And then the navigation just does all sorts of crazy things. So, like, I know what it's doing now, so I kind of can manage it. But if you were driving it for the first time and, it just slams on the brakes as you're going over a bridge over one of the roads that it thinks it's turning onto, it's dangerous.
Yeah, true. No, definitely raise it, Colin. But like I said, I've just got to temper expectations, because they're basically going to throw their arms up and say, well, it's TomTom data and
just tell them to get their nav data from Google, like they get the map data, because that's been fine since about December.
Yeah, indeed.
And
as a shareholder, I couldn't agree less, because I want them to use the cheapest provider. But actually, no, I take that back. It's not ideal. It's not even not ideal. It's just not on.
It's
in this day and age.
A joke now. Like, updating it twice a year. Okay, if it takes a few months to update, sure, but it's been 10 months now.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other question I was going to ask is: has there been any update on the whole single pool, double pool thing for the junipers yet? Has that happened?
As best as I'm aware, I don't believe it's ever going to happen. I believe the rationale is that, sadly, too many Tesla owners have lost situational awareness, have inadvertently tapped off autopilot but stayed on TAC, and simultaneously been distracted, which is like a large proportion of the Tesla driving population, and then they'll just gently drift off and hit a freeway light pole in spectacular fashion, and the next thing they know, they go, well, how did that happen? So there are no Junipers that have a double press option for autopilot / TAC. It's, if you're used to it, if you've driven a Highland Model 3 or a previous version Model Y, it's a real limitation. It can be very frustrating, because there are many roads that you cannot engage autopilot on because they don't have sufficient markings, but you really want to engage TAC, because at least then you won't speed, or you'll be at the correct speed. The only hack you can do, and it is a hack, is you set up two profiles, and you can name them AP and TAC. And if you switch between the two profiles, on one profile you can have TAC enabled as a single pull option, and on the other profile you can have autopilot enabled. And unlike if you're just driving along, you have to bring your car to a stop to change the selection. If you change profiles, you can do that while you're driving, and then that will change the behavior of the single press of the scroll wheel. But it's hacky, it's inefficient, it's clumsy. You have to sort of keep changing profiles, and that can be a pain, especially if you happen to have done something like change the temperature of the aircon, and then you'll find you'll keep fighting it and all that sort of stuff, and it's not very efficient. But I don't believe that Tesla is going to change their what they're doing as far as that's concerned for future models. It probably means sometime in the future for Model 3s, subsequent new cars will not come out with a double press option. So they'll unify that restriction.
That's what I was just thinking. It's a bit odd that if they've made that decision for a safety reason, that they've left the Model 3s with it. You'd think they'd update to take that away, maybe?
That's a big step. That's a much more severe step to make, because then some owners can rightly say, well, you've literally removed a feature that I've paid for, and would be a lot more grumpy about it than if they never receive it in the first place. Albeit a lot of seasoned Tesla owners who have had multiple Teslas, I for one was not at all very happy whatsoever when I got my Juniper using autopilot and TAC. Not at all happy. So that's the least worst of the situations. If they were to reach into the current cars and make a large change like that, they'd have to give that a lot more serious thought, and they might judge it's not worth the drama compared to the benefit of having less cars crash inadvertently.
I think you can sort of see where they're heading, because basically once everybody has either FSD or they don't, then you don't need that. Am I right there?
Yeah, especially
if FSD is good, you'll have it on, full stop.
Especially if they make autopilot just a nobbled version of the FSD end-to-end architecture, the neural network. And in fact, I've heard that Tesla is proposing that if you are not using, and bearing in mind in America everything's FSD, sort of, in a sense, but they're talking about if you show signs of being drowsy or inattentive or swerving across the road or not driving properly, there could be a notification that comes up and suggests that you use FSD. Now, I don't quite know how that would possibly work if you haven't purchased FSD. Look, it almost... Some of these things that are cost plus add-ons eventually become free features and then eventually become mandatory requirements. So I think at this early stage, it's really just you got to pay. But eventually Tesla may conclude that they would rather utilize the safety of FSD and effectively give it away for free as a feature. And then perhaps in 10 years' time, it'll be mandatory to have FSD on all cars purchased in Australia, all new ones. So
yeah, I was just thinking how, like, if you don't purchase FSD, you've still got TAC, and the double pull or not double pull is not an issue for you because you don't have FSD. And those who do have FSD will use FSD where they can.
Yeah, but the people that don't have FSD still may use autopilot, but then there might not be much of a distinction between TAC and autopilot if autopilot becomes
going forward. I'm thinking, legacy stuff. Yeah, that'll
no. So if you have a new car, so for example, my wife's car, which is brand new and has had FSD transferred to it, but it can't have FSD yet because of a hardware glitch or whatever, configuration glitch. In the absence of if I didn't transfer FSD to it, it would still have, for free, autopilot and TAC. It's just that you can't select them using your right-hand scroll wheel interchangeably. You have to either select one or the other. And like I said, that'd be fine if autopilot worked everywhere, because autopilot is TAC plus lane keeping. But obviously there are many roads that autopilot can't cope with. But if autopilot becomes a nobbled version of FSD, then the nobbled version of FSD certainly can cope with unmarked roads. And then that would be much less of a problem.
But what I'm
So you
saying
could then
is
unify.
buy autopilot now. From now onwards, you can't buy autopilot, can you not?
No, you never could. Well, you can't buy autopilot. You haven't been able to buy autopilot for many years. Autopilot comes for free with the car. It's complimentary.
Oh, sorry.
Every Tesla.
I'm confusing myself. Enhanced autopilot is what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a different matter. And that's no longer available. So we can just park that. But if you still have it, you can still upgrade to FSD and you can still transfer it to a new car up until end of this year.
Yeah.
That's enhanced autopilot.
Yeah.
Not for someone, not for everyone.
Sorry, Terry?
Well, they wouldn't let me transfer it.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, Terry. One thing I can think of is the previous car you might have had in a personal name and you bought the new car in a business name or vice versa. And in that case, it can be difficult. But look, feel free to reach out if you're not happy with what happened. If you think that you should have had it transferred or be transferable, let us know and we can try and address it.
Oh,
all right, so let's go Bruce and then Pete.
So I had a question about maps. If you're where you want to go is not on the map, will FSD be able to continue to drive you? Or, like, for example, if you drilled a hole between Australia and the United States, would autopilot be able to drive you there?
No, of course not, because that's not on the TomTom mapping. So holes through the earth don't count as a navigable route. But there are some people that have got a direct.
Is that about right?
Sorry, you just broke up then again. Bruce, say that again.
Meaning, so I've always heard that in the United States, if you dig a hole you'll go to China, but isn't it really Australia?
Yes, the antipodes of, say, Perth is pretty close to the northeast of the States, but which is true. So I think it looks like you are in the States because it's daytime. So so if we looked directly down, that's probably, and you did the same, we'd be staring at each other.
And
but,
I don't know if yeah, I don't know if you recognize, but I'm Joel. I'm actually
yes, Joel. I know that's why I stuck with the Bruce, but we'll call you Bruce for now. Yeah. So Joel is a what would you call Joel? Joel is a lapsed member of what was the oh God, now I've forgotten. I'm talking Tesla team. Talking Tesla.
I'm gonna tell Mel that you forgot this after we named a
section. No, I didn't. I only forgot for a few seconds and then I remembered. So that was Mel Herbert. Yes, who is an Australian fellow. He's an expat Australian.
Yes.
But yeah,
I
so
think
Joel,
he's from the other side though.
He is from the other side. He's a wise man from the east. But yes. Yeah, indeed. But yeah, but there are people like a mate of mine's got an address near Denmark where TomTom can't resolve the actual address and will drive the car sort of round in circles because it does its best effort, but it actually goes the wrong way. Whereas Google will actually resolve all the way to his front gate. He's got a rural property. So it can be quite frustrating. And then sometimes you've got to sort of use other techniques, such as, in his case, if you delete the the house number, and just put in the street, it does a better job. But you've got to finish the last bit. Even though it'll show the PIN accurately, again, because Google Maps does the visualization and TomTom does the actual navigation, then TomTom won't do a very good job of getting you there. So you sometimes have to use your own sort of resources.
Harold, one of the new features of version 14 is going to be navigation on private roads. So that may resolve that whole issue.
Yeah, that's right. So that's where they've got more accurate mapping down to the level of what's navigable or what the actual lanes and road markings and car parks, which I mean, TomTom has a bit of that, but probably not to that level of accuracy that you need. All right, Huffy, Huffies.
Sorry, I just wanted to introduce Richard again. He finally is here. I'll get him to speak about his experience driving in my car.
Oh yes, Richard, welcome.
Oh, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Look, I'm a newbie, and the one thing that occurs to me, first of all, Hafiz has tried doing his level best to suck me into this vortex of technology, and it's sort of working. But what comes across to me is you guys are all pioneers. You're all pioneers. And what I can see is that so many countless people are going to benefit from what you are all collectively doing. So I'm just going to sit back and absorb it all by a process of osmosis. So you'll have to be patient with me. I've also got 2 black and white films processing themselves in the sink over there, one of which came out of a 100-year-old Kodak box brownie. So that's at the back of my mind. But do carry on. It's lovely to see you all.
Okay, so in less time than it takes to in more time than it takes to expose that film, but a lot less time than it takes to develop it, we can work out how to get you into a Tesla today. So I guarantee you that your best buy would be the new Model Y. You don't necessarily have to get the long range version because there is a ubiquity of fast DC chargers. There's nothing wrong with getting the standard range version Model Y, and if you buy it in Poverty Pearl White, which is the no cost option, I'll just get up the. By the way,
white.
When you buy, so what was that, Mike?
Don't besmirch white. I like white.
Yeah, I like.
I've had a Poverty Pearl. I've had a couple of Poverty Pearl White cars. I only call them Poverty Pearl White because it's kind of an ironic description, because it's pearl white, and that used to cost a lot in the olden days.
I was going to say, my car, like 6 years ago, it's $2,500 extra.
That's right, because black was the free color, wasn't it?
Yep.
Originally. So if we have a look at
the white's beautiful.
The new Model Y, you can see that the rear wheel drive is a drive away. That's in. So let me just reduce this a little bit. It's let's call it $66,000 drive away, and that represents great value. Yes, you can get the long range, and for that you're going to basically add 10 grand. And to be honest, unless you are looking for the extra performance, and this is something that most people that haven't driven an EV before find it difficult to get their heads around, but the performance of the slowest version of the Model Y is 0 to 105.9 seconds, which I don't think there were any Falcons or Commodores that did less than 5 seconds ever. And if they did, it was very high fours, and that was a horrendously expensive version. So the slowest car you can get is 5.9 seconds. Unless you were doing very long road trips, which is not likely in far distant areas, the extra 10 grand is only worth it, not for the distance, but for the extra speed, if that's what you're looking for, the extra performance. So really, you could get yourself into a pearl white black interior car. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to go black and white interior, and the white seats are really, really great looking. And don't worry, you can just use Windex to clean them. Ask me why I know, and that's from a car that had done 194,000 Ks without having the seats ever cleaned. But if you go to the black and white interior and you go the standard rear wheel drive, you're looking at just over $67,000. Now, of course, on top of that, Huffy's would recommend that you spend either the $10,100 to get FSD and be done with it, and then that's just a sunk cost and you'll have that for the life of the car. Or you could wait a little bit and get a subscription for $149 a month. But to be honest, human nature being what it is, sunk costs are a lot easier to deal with than subscription fees. So you could just say you only live once and spend $77,000 on a premium sedan that will basically drive you around everywhere. And it will come to pass within the next couple of years that that car will be licensed and capable of driving you around either with or without you. And if it's with you, you won't need to have a driver's license or be in any fit state to drive. And that will probably come about in the next couple of years, maybe 3 years at tops, on the same car.
Big call.
Sorry?
That was a big call to say that. I don't think it'll ever come.
In 2 to 3 years,
Yeah.
it's a lay down misere, because if you've driven with FSD supervised at the moment, on its first release version that's released to the public, it's probably about 90% there. Then Tesla just needs to chase about another three nines to get it to say 99.9, or maybe 4 nines, 99.99% there. And that will be better than humans. And once that's demonstrated, and it's not difficult to demonstrate that because you'll have enough statistics, because after all, the mere roughly 1,500 FSD users in Australia have already in less than 2 weeks driven or been driven 1 million kilometres. So the statistics will be compelling. And once the statistics show that it's actually significantly safer to have the car drive for you, then no rational government will impede that progress, because it's actually going to save lives. And no politician is going to be so dumb as to try and object on some kind of irrational objection grounds. So in the next, say, 2 or 3 years, that same car that you have FSD on today is all but certain to be able to be driven autonomously. And there will be the federal and state legislation that will make that happen, and they'll work out all the details, such as who pays for the insurance or which insurance policy is covered when the car is in autonomous mode, because obviously it's not the passenger, because then all you do is become the passenger at that stage. And,
you could actually... Sorry, go, Harold, finish your point.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I said this, it only came to me just before I had a radio interview. There are 2 significant events in everyone's life if you're lucky enough to live long enough. The first event is when you're roughly 17 and you gain your driver's license, and the independence that sense of independence and freedom is something that even most older people struggle to forget, because it's such a significant event in your life. But a very sad event at the other end of your life, if you are fortunate enough to live long enough, is when you no longer can hold your driver's license. And that can become a very sad and limiting aspect of your elderly life. And a lot of elderly people don't do very well if and when that comes to pass, because you lose connection with community and friends and family, and everything goes downhill from there. and that's something that full FSD without supervision can bring back that freedom to elderly people, to disabled people, and a lot of other people. So it's a real revolution that's happening before our very eyes. I mean, most of us that are driving FSD now or being driven, it's such a weird feeling because it's like we've been waiting for this for years and years and years, thinking and almost knowing it was impossible, and yet here it basically is, albeit at probably the 90% mark. So that's it, Richard. That's sort of the reason why you need to get into a Tesla. And it's not because it's an electric vehicle per se. I mean, that's the bonus there is you never have to go to a petrol station unless you want to pump up your tires or get a bottle of expensive milk. The best thing is it takes you 10 seconds to recharge your car, 5 to plug it in the evening when you get home or whenever you're at home to plug it in, 5 seconds, and the same 5 seconds to unplug it at the other end of the day, and you're done. And the maintenance costs are not quite zero, but very low. There's no regular maintenance, or should I say annual or 15,000 kilometre interval maintenance or anything like that. And just the interior, it's really an iPad on wheels, so it's different. It's not cluttered. The things you can do on your app, you're in a hot car park and you're in a shopping centre or at work or whatever, you can just hop on your app, turn the aircon on, turn it off, do whatever you like. It really is an iPad on wheels. And yeah, you only live once, just buy a Tesla.
Thank you very much.
But get ask Huffy's for his referral code. Not that it gets him anything, but I think actually, to be honest, I don't even know if it gets you anything at all. But give it a go. You might get a couple of $100 off. I can't really remember.
It's a $350, but only for Model 3 at the moment.
Oh,
okay. And the referee gets $150.
Oh, okay. So,
well,
in that case, don't worry. Just get a Model Y. So forego the $300. And I'm only saying that because, I mean, I'm not old, but according to my kids, I am. Model 3 is great, but the Model Y is a lot easier to get in and out of. You're in a more upright sitting position. It's really like an SUV, whereas the Model 3 you describe as a sleek, a low sedan, I guess, is the fairest way to describe it. But still an awesome car. But I'm just saying, for comfort-wise, and the price difference is very low. So for that little bit extra, and it's not harder to drive because the actual external dimensions are very similar. So it's not like one's sort of easy to go through skinny roads and the other one's not. They're very similar as far as driving.
I'll just put a minor counterpoint that Model 3 is much more fun to drive, and
definitely,
and gets you longer range for the same model. But everything Harold said is also true. But having moved from my Performance Y down to a Poverty 3, the Poverty 3 is still much nicer to drive than Performance Y ever was. That's my statement for the day.
Yes, and I'll just put a footnote that Ken really enjoys driving his car, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, please.
I'm going to go and rescue my photographic film, which is doing goodness knows what. I may catch you later on.
No worries. Cheers. Thanks, Richard. Pete, you got your hand up, and then we'll go to Mike.
Okay, so two things. So I wanted to speak to the Hardware 3 to Hardware 4 upgrades, but also wanted to ask, do we know for a fact that even the early versions of the software aren't getting any over-the-air updates? So do we know for a fact?
So what do you mean by early version? What do you mean, Pete?
Oh, so the version that you and I have, for instance, the test versions, or the wider version.
So firstly, the version are so-called early adopters. or whatever early access, and the mainstream people that have got hardware 4, that version is identical. So it's literally the same.
I thought the wider version didn't have the videos, the saved video.
Yes, that's a software setting, Pete. That's only just something they can turn on and turn off at their will.
Yeah,
That's
so
a parameter setting. That's not the actual download that our car has, our cars have, yours and mine, Pete, and everyone else that's got FSD on hardware 4, that download and the version number is the same.
Okay, so whether it's the early access version or the wider version, whichever version.
It's the same thing. It's the same version.
Okay.
Let's just say it's the same version. It is.
Okay,
It's the first version.
Is there any circumstance in which Tesla is improving the software in between versions?
No.
Historically, that's always been no.
No. So there's no. So it's not like they're sending sub updates or something, tweaks or something. It's literally what we're driving now is exactly the same as it was when the day our cars got that software version. What us as humans might pick up as the car might be doing something better or worse or different is more us personifying what it's doing, and it's probably more likely to do with environmental conditions such as lighting or other cars or whatever. So
the reason why I'm asking that question is I'm basing it on 3 things. So one on X, I think it was Rob Greaves who was mentioning that he's noticed that his car was sending quite a few gigabytes, up, but he was also downloading a few gigabytes down in between versions. So he was speculating that.
Is he Australian? Is that an Australian person?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
okay.
he's from WA, or he's definitely Australian. Yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing is, so I completely understand, and this could be the world's, it could be a very big coincidence, but one of the things that I've been flagging has been, so what the car has been doing traditionally is if there's a speed hump, and you know how you have narrow speed humps where you can straddle that speed hump with both wheels, so
Yes.
you don't
Yep.
actually go down.
Yep.
So some of those speed humps are dead center in the lane or between
Yep.
the curbs, and some are to the side. So there's one of these near where I live, and the car every single time the right wheels would go over the highest part of the speed hump. So every time it did it, I flagged it or I disengaged and explained that it needs to straddle it, and have sent an email to that effect as well. And in the last 3 days, so I would have gone over that speed hump 100 times at least over the last 5 weeks. And in the last 3 days, I've probably gone over it maybe 10, 15 times. Every single time it's done it the wrong way before. And in the last 3 days, every single time it's done it the right way. And no one was talking about the roundabouts as well. And I've noticed a few more roundabouts indicating to exit the roundabout now. The same roundabouts, roughly the same time of day, and so that makes me. And also one other thing is the Tesla AUNZ account on X posted something to the effect of, "Have you noticed anything recently?" Or
No, that was just after they released the software. So that's for people that would have seen that there's a software update. That's what that was referring to. I can tell you that I've got near my place, I have to traverse those traversable speed humps, and several times it's nailed it perfectly, whereby both wheels just barely touch the low shoulders of it, so they do it perfectly. But then many other times it does it imperfectly. It's fairly random as far as traffic is concerned. So
it depends on is within the lane, Harold. So
well, the
yeah,
thing
so-
is, if you are centered in the lane, this one's actually on a slight bend. It's actually one of these silly humps just before a very small roundabout, and if you are centered dead in the lane but on a curve, you will straddle it perfectly. If you're either side, a foot either side, you're not going to straddle it perfectly. And my car has done every combination of perfect to imperfect to terrible to sublime in all combinations of driving on different days, same days, same conditions, different conditions, whatever. So now, as far as your traffic thing is concerned, this is what my car's done, and obviously it's been dead for a week because the car wasn't there for 10 days or 11 days, but it peaked at like 150 gigabytes in a day to 35 on the 22nd. Sorry,
this is upload.
These are uploads. 40 gigabytes to 30 to 34. Today is nothing. Basically nothing, and then a little bit 4 gigabytes. So if anything, and this is only just one car, but if anything, it could be that Tesla is abating. And I've only driven the car in mixed situations, and it probably depends on how many times you do a disengagement, because on disengagement it keeps like a snapshot of all the videos and all that sort of stuff. But it's not at all likely that Tesla is tweaking what's already in the system. I think there was a time, especially on the American cars, where there were certain things they could affect sort of on the go, but I think that was more with their C++ versions of the software, whereas this is end to end, and that's why the file when you download it is 6.5 gigabytes. So if you can log your modems, your car will pull about 6.5 gigabytes, which is a very large update, because you've got to change all the weights on your neural networks, and that's why it takes 50 minutes to install. So no, Pete, I don't believe that there's any tweaking. Anything that's a difference in behavior is more to do with either randomness or lighting conditions, or it never quite does the same thing exactly the same in every situation. But look, and we have not, so just a couple of points. The early software is the same as the current software. It has not changed at all. And the first thing we need to do is get the next update. And hopefully that will be when we get some significant changes, such as it'll maintain speed better. It'll resist the urge to cross double white lines and overtake on the wrong side of the road when it shouldn't. And traffic lights, red lights, hopefully.
Okay, so the second thing was the hardware 3 to AI4 upgrade.
Yep.
So my thinking is that, so I think you mentioned 60-40 chance. So
that's only my personal opinion, yeah.
Sure.
40-60. So it's a 40% chance of software, 60% chance of hardware.
So I'm thinking it's more like over 90% hardware, less than 10% software.
Yeah, could be, yeah.
So here's my thinking. So we know that, Elon has famously said that, one of the downsides of really talented engineers is they keep optimizing a part that doesn't need to exist in the first place. Now, we know that considering they have effectively promised the free upgrade, they know that that software will effectively be obsolete when they upgrade, or it will be completely unneeded once they upgrade the hardware, which they've promised to do anyway, which they've undertaken to do anyway.
No, if required, only if required. They haven't promised to do a hardware upgrade regardless. They've only done it. What they said was,
Correct.
We will do whatever is needed, whatever's required to implement full self-driving, unsupervised, in any car that has purchased it. All the way back to the Model S's and X's back in 2017 on hardware 2, that they will do whatever's required to get those cars to do what Elon promised and Tesla promised.
Elon did concede on the last earnings call. He said the honest answer is we will have to upgrade hardware 3. It's like, it's probably so.
Yeah, but there's still a chance because they are learning how to crush down models and how to use sparsity. And if it's plausible that they can get a car running several times better than a human on hardware 3, they would be mad not to do that, to try that for at least a while, because you pay for software once, you pay for hardware every time. So, I think they'll try, but they might get to a point where in 6 months' time where they'll say, oh, look, we're going to run out the hardware 4 chips anyway, so let's just run a batch of upgraded computers, bearing in mind the old Ys and the pre-Highland 3s, they're a lot easier to upgrade because they've got a liquid cooling circuit, whereas the old S's and X's, they're air cooled, and that's probably a little bit tougher to keep the fan running hard enough but stay quiet. So that might be a tougher ask for those cars, but there's vastly less of them.
But we know that with version 14, they've said that it's only going to be for hardware 4 cars.
Correct.
We know the hardware 3 through emulation has already been made to work for FSD supervised in the US. Now, considering that the Australian fleet is less than a couple of % of the global fleet, and then a subset of that are people that have got hardware 3, and an even smaller subset of that are people that have purchased FSD. So for those people, is it worthwhile trying to change the software when you said 2 or 3 years, you could make an argument that it could be 6 to 12 months or 6 to 18 months before FSD unsupervised is. So with version 14, I think they mentioned that it's multimodal. So essentially it will be the same software running FSD supervised, FSD unsupervised, and FSD unsupervised robotaxi.
Yep.
So they'll just turn off and on certain features.
Well, actually, I might as well ask one of our friendly Americans, Joel, aka Bruce. What version of hardware do you have in your car, Joel?
I have hardware 4,
and
and last night I got an update that I was hoping was something better, but it ended up not being anything.
Yeah, right.
It's like a little. It's probably like Hanukkah or something where you get like all these gifts, every day, and you think it's going to be the awesome one, and it ends up being some silly update for security or something.
So do you have a car in the family that's got hardware 3 and FSD?
We do have well, I do have a friend that lives close that has hardware 3.
Yep.
So he's got a Performance Model 3, and he uses it like 98% of the time.
Yep.
So he recently drove from, well, not it's what is 500,
800
700 miles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 700
so
miles, about 1,000 kilometers. Yep.
Yeah. And he said he never disengaged. It just, and he like is a little ADD, and he likes the fact that he can just concentrate on like watching what the car is doing, but he doesn't have to drive.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand that until recently in mine. Like, I think I was on the phone with somebody and I was paying attention, but so I used to have the original autopilot just before hardware 1.
No, hardware 2.
Literally,
hardware. You got ripped off because you got your car. Was it the day of the announcement? Was it like the announcement was that evening or something, and you just received your brand new?
Yeah, so he made it. Exactly. He made an announcement on, like, how he does this, like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this big announcement. It's supposed to be on Wednesday, and so I was supposed to pick up the car on Wednesday. I canceled the pickup and said, well, let's make it Friday or something. he canceled and made it later. And I would have I would have waited just to get that hardware, because who wants that? The hardware. Like
Mobileye.
the
It was the
old
Mobileye version 1. Yep.
yeah. But anyway, so for that one, I felt like I was like a driver instructor, and I knew like the things that it would do well. You'd read about it, and like the car that's on the side of the road that would hit like a fire truck or something like that. I'd pay attention to those things. This car is like, I can't figure what its faults are, honestly. Like it is like, I'm not like a stock pumper. Like I have a little stock in Tesla, but I barely have any. This car is, I already think it's ready. Now I realize there's like a whole bunch of 9s there, but it is like unbelievable already. I can't imagine what 14 is. So it's probably a march of 9s. Personally, like I listened to your thing yesterday or last week. I do feel like they do need a little local memory. Because I think that will convince the last set of people that like it does like an amazing job. Like the guy that just talked about the humps, like straddling them perfect. Like that sort of, like there's some things that happened with me recently, taking my son to school, and I've never hit that hump just right. I so that I drive right through it, and it did it. Like I was like, oh my God, like those sort of like magical things are the things that will get the rest of the people. But my Hardware 3 friend thinks it's still like almost as amazing as mine. He hasn't gotten a chance to drive it just yet, or a Hardware 4, but I think he's coming out for a Red Sox for a baseball playoff game.
Yep.
And he'll be able to drive it, and we can compare at that point. But yeah, right now I think they're still behind us, and I do agree with everything you've said. Like if they do try to make a smaller model, then they have to maintain that model. Right, too. That's one other piece. So there is a cost to that. Yeah. That you have to continue to do. I really like. I don't know what your name is, sir, with the orange shirt.
Pete. That's Pete. Pete.
Oh, Pete. Yeah, I like your reasoning, especially for Australia, because Australia already has a different model. So like, if there's like they should be able to do some number. They know all the cars that are out there, all the cars that are on the road, and they can do some calculus, and they'll do that once everything's ready. They'll be able to say, okay, there are, 1.2 million Model 3s. We're losing them at a 20,000 a month clip or whatever. Like they'll just know all those numbers, and they'll be able to make the right decision. There's a part of me that knows like in 5 years, the hardware size for a car driving will be a lot smaller than it needs to be right now, because we'll have all those smarts. But Tesla can't jump ahead 5 years. So it may just be easier just to give people a new car, or like work out like a really good discount to get people to entice people. And that's kind of what they've been doing to get people not to have the unlimited charging, is they do all these enticements. And so they might do that first, and then I think that they'll then do a hardware. I think it's probably like 80% from my perspective, just because I work in software, and to maintain multiple versions for safety too, right? Like, imagine you have this smaller crunch down version and there's some public accident, right? There's a cost to that.
Yep.
So I don't know. There's a lot of different things there.
The only way that they could make it cheap to maintain is if they literally had a quantization compiler that literally just took the Hardware 4 version and crushed it down automatically, so it maintained 95% of the goodness or the efficacy of the Hardware 4 version, and just jammed it automatically into the Hardware 3. I think one problem is I think whatever Tesla does in one jurisdiction, it's going to have to do in all of them. So it would not be accepted, I don't think, if Tesla announced that it would upgrade all the Hardware 3 FSD Australian cars and not the American cars. Because rightly so, American owners would say, well, hang on a minute, you've decided to do it in one jurisdiction, which happens to be a small one, so it's all less costly. Although if you think about it, the cost is the same. It's a cost per car. And then the question is, what benefit do you get from that car still being in the fleet or, being out there? And the thing is, the promise was made. So I know Elon Musk did say in one of the quarterly earnings reports calls, it would be very painful to upgrade computers, but they'd only have to upgrade them on cars that had FSD. And Tesla could draw a line and say, as of, like they could announce tomorrow, we are going to upgrade all the computers, all the Hardware 3 computers to Hardware 4 for all of those who have purchased FSD. If you have subscribed, so if you are subscribing and you've got Hardware 3, they may say, we will offer you a discounted installation fee because you're only subscribing, you haven't purchased. So there might be a small fee, $500 US or something like that, or whatever, to try and cover costs. And if you don't have FSD, well, you stay with autopilot on your Hardware 3 indefinitely. And what they could do is increase the price of FSD for the legacy cars to get them upgraded as well as FSD. Or like you say, Joel, just introduce a juicy offer that says, well, if you trade your Hardware 3 car in, we'll give you a better deal on a Hardware 4 version or Hardware 5, whatever comes later.
There must be somebody that's thought about like how many of these cars are out there.
Yep.
Because it may not be as much as we think in our heads. I mean, there's only been 7 million cars or so made, right? Something like that.
8 million, I think.
8.5, something like that now. Yeah.
So but like, even though we think like it's less than half of that number that's Hardware 3, and then only I think the rate was pretty low, like less than 8%.
Yeah.
That bought FSD. So like you can come up with like at least a good approximate. It'd be helpful, like because then it would help your calculus. Is it 90% that they're gonna replace? Is it 60%? Because then you'll know, like, you'll have a better sense of the number. Probably can sit down and figure that out.
Probably less than 500,000 cars, really, when you do the figures.
Yeah. So it's not even the hardware part that I think is the part that'll be expensive. It'll be the labor. Yeah, because I mean they're cranking these chips out a lot. I've seen some numbers that like say like it's not really that expensive for the hardware. Like but I think probably unless it's like slide in, slide out, like it might be pretty expensive. I think this car got a replacement and it took a full day.
Yep.
There was some like short circuiting happening. Like I didn't see it, and they just called me and said, "Hey, we think there's a problem with your car," or they, on my app, and replaced it in a day, and I got another car. So
it's the logistics.
It took them
it's
a
the
while.
labor. Yeah. And the thing is, it's liquid cooled, so you've got to clamp off the hoses if you can, depending on whether they're stiff or not. There's a bit of cleanup involved. There's just the labor of getting into the guts of under your center console or under your dash. So, yeah, and look, if it costs $500 for $500,000, there's $250 million. Of course, in Tesla's revenue, that's not a lot, but it's not nothing. And it's also the logistics. You've got to spool up service techs. You're going to displace people that want to do other service items because a whole rush of people are going to want their cars upgraded. It's just all logistics. But if it has to happen, it has to happen. And yeah, so I fear in Australia, if you want to get the best guaranteed, if you want to pay for it, is just buy a new car. And if you've got FSD on an old Hardware 3, there is a free transfer as long as you receive the car by the end of this year. So, yeah.
That's nice.
I think we'll go Richard Cooper. We'll go Richard, Paul, Mike. Richard, Paul, and Mike.
Okay, my story is I've got some good news and some bad news. The car I picked up a week ago tomorrow, I put in a report that FSD doesn't work, and the guy came back and said, well, you've got the bigger battery. You've got an extra 15 kilometres of range on your new car that we didn't have a week ago. That's my good news. That's what he told me.
Right. Yes.
And then he also said that they were working on a firmware update to make it all work with that battery. And I hope it's not going to take 1,309 days to get it, because I'll be very sad.
No. So my feeling is I think Tesla's going to be a little bit slack, and rather than patching the current software revision, they're going to wait for the new model to be completed, to be trained on the Cortex supercomputer, and I think they're going to be a bit slack and just wait till the next major update comes and then apply whatever the patch is that's required for these brand new cars with the bigger batteries.
Yeah,
If it's actually a battery thing, it might be some other module that because see, Tesla never stands still. They always change things continually.
So he was very pleasant and apologetic about it, and he said I was the first. He had another 6 people to call today with the same problem. So, and the other good news is my Tesla Powerwatch, which died a couple of months ago, is being replaced tomorrow. So
now, was that one of the ones that was subject to a recall? Or I guess you won't know because it died anyway. So
no, it didn't die. They shut it down.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So that was the
would have been the
recall.
recall.
Yes, yep, that was
Yeah.
a recall.
So they discharged it and shut it down. And anyway, so that's my good news. So I get
Yeah,
all my
cool. Very
Powerwatch
good.
going.
So
that's
good.
me done.
Excellent. And we'll go Paul and then Mike.
I was just sort of talking about the shares, like voting and that sort of stuff.
Oh, yes.
And the
Oh, that's
hilarious thing
surprise, Paul.
was, I was like, oh yeah, haven't got my ComSec thing, and then we hang up, and then I think half an hour later I got the email from ComSec. So yeah, so vote your shares, however you want.
Yes, just vote.
Yeah.
Vote early and vote often.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't post up your
Control
what's it
number.
called? The control
Control
number,
number.
because
Yeah, no.
otherwise anyone can log in and change your vote.
Yeah, and you'll get separate
Um,
emails with ComSec as well if you've got different accounts,
Yeah.
as opposed to some which was just all in the same email.
Gotcha.
but yeah,
Excellent.
cool.
Go Tesla. We really do need the only 2 votes that count is the 2025 CEO compensation plan,
Yep.
and
That's proposition
something else.
4, I think.
Yeah, and something else that's important.
Are you thinking
XAI?
the XAI investment?
Number 7?
No, not really.
No.
There was something else I thought. Oh, maybe it was just the directors, but that's uncontroversial. Yeah, I guess the XAI is a good idea, but again, that's been so loosely worded so as just to give the board the knowledge that the shareholders are in favour of whatever the board decides to do.
Yeah.
Because it could be a share swap, it could be a direct investment, it could be a joint venture, it could be a memorandum of understanding, it could be anything really.
And
it's been worded.
I don't think they'd even mentioned any valuation or any multiple.
Nope. No. It's wide open for the board to then try and work out what they may think is in the best interest of shareholders, which is really what their job is, to be perfectly honest. All right, we'll go to Mike, and after that I'll just show something that's a bit of an anecdote of just how hard it is for FSD to do stuff. Mike.
Okay, a couple of comments from the last half hour's conversation. Harold, I heard that Northern Territory radio interview. Excellent. And for those who haven't heard it, no, you handled it really well without, patting you on the back.
I know I was almost getting, like, I did kind of imply that, the cops there might get themselves all twisted up in jargon and whatever, because they kept on banging on to say, well, FSD hasn't been tested in the Northern Territory, and it's like, well, anyway, yeah. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, yeah.
And of course, you nailed it with the old people will be able to go anywhere and not rely on their daft relatives. She liked that.
Yes, no, and it only came to me just before I was interviewed with Joe Trilling, I thought, because how else do you sort of just demonstrate? Because again, for all those of us who have got it, it's such a big anticlimactic thing. It's really weird because it works so well. It makes such a difference, and yet we just sit there and go, "Yeah, it just works," and that's just really strange. But I think it's important for people to realise what a big difference this is going to make to people's lives. Firstly, in reducing the deaths, and also increasing quality of life, especially at the end when quality is the only thing you've got left, because you don't have a lot of quantity, unfortunately, and that'll happen to all of us.
And so I saw a post late this afternoon that the resident government accountant is saying they're going to back off on the EV tax.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah, I
Chalmers,
mean,
whatever his name is. He said
yep.
not a priority. You know, he's trying to weasel out of it as usual, like they do. So, so that might be a good sign for all of us. So, just thought pass that on.
And Mike, are
Yeah,
you
cool.
talking about the road user charge?
Yes.
Right. So did he say back off EVs or include all cars?
It's on X. Did I just let me check on X to see if I bookmarked it or not?
Well, while you're doing that, Mike, unless you can find the next
Yes, here
3
you go. I've
seconds.
got it. Here
Oh,
you
got
go,
it, yep.
Jim. So this
Yeah, I've just
was so TechAU reposted, and
Yeah, I can
President
see
Jim
it.
Chalmers says the government is in no rush to roll out a road user charging system amid concerns that this could discourage users from buying EVs, basically.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So he was stating that, and there was a conversation earlier about, you know, I think with Richard and Hafi's friend, what people the regulars here would realise, but maybe other listeners don't, is that what's in Tesla's current software workshop is a year down the track from where we are now, and they've got that probably working reasonably well, but they have to go through a whole bunch of hoops before they can release it out to the public. So, you know, they've probably got a system that's working. They just can't release it to anybody. They just have to go through the hoops.
Yeah, except for Australia, whereby
Sure.
it literally is our own version, but it's using the framework that they've developed. So I presume we'll probably get version 13 point whatever on the next release, and maybe the next couple of releases, and then we'll get ported to version 14, which is obviously a different structure, computational structure, but then it'll have to be relearned. The good thing is we'll have more and more cars participating to get what's the most valuable thing, which is the data. And you need the real life data, and so they can also then build simulation. And speaking of that data, and I'll come back to you, Mike, if you've got anything else. But I did have a little bit of time while I was rendering some of these videos, these 4K videos of this lap, and I had another close look at one of the kangaroo interactions. And I guess this video just highlights just how little time, whether it's a human or a machine, has got on many of these interactions, and how they can be a real wicked problem. And sometimes you just have to accept you're going to hit some, like that's just going to happen. So I'll just play this video if I can get it to go across. So we'll just play it. Oh, if it'll play, come on. Here we go. So this is in real time, and you can see, it looks over in 2 seconds. So now it'll play and also like pause in bits. So that's when it first sees it at 0. That's when I put the brakes on, 1.24 seconds. That's when it's in the center of the car, 1.8. And at 2.2, it's all over the car. The kangaroo has gone past. Now, what's useful to look at is the car. If you focus down on the bottom here with what the car is showing, you'll actually see there'll be a blob that gets visualized. So if you have a quick look, there it is there, blob there, moving across, and right just down that corner. So the car actually does visualize the kangaroo, but I have no way. Sorry, I have no way of knowing, and I've described this before. I had this crushing responsibility not to be the first guy to drive around Australia and smash his car on a Kangaroo driving FSD, because the haters would have, had a field day and gone, oh, haha, look, FSD is useless, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't give my car a lot of rope. And on that Kangaroo interaction, you could see the whole event from when the Kangaroo was stood still on the side of the road to having just, let's call it, almost glanced the car. That was 2.2 seconds from start to finish. So that's the diabolical thing. That's the data that Tesla needs and the simulation. And then sometimes the car will have to accept, well, I'm going to hit it anyway, because physics, you can't just stop a car doing 100, I think I was doing 100 Ks an hour, down to not very much in 20 meters. You just can't do it. But that's the challenge.
Yeah, those of you who've done low risk driving or whatever it's called these days will know the standard thing that sort of reaction time and braking distance combined is about 2 seconds in dry conditions with good visibility. So at night, in rain and whatever, it's longer. So that 2 seconds, I thought you'd hit it, to be honest. I thought, oh shit.
No,
I just went, oh shit, when I was watching.
No. Actually, on that Twitter post, in fact,
because I thought the Kangaroo was tumbling when it was off to the side from the side camera.
No, so I think it was just unbalanced, because there was no clip. Like, I didn't even touch its tail, because you would have heard that.
I thought,
this thing.
When did you post this?
Wow.
Say again, Joel?
When did you post this? I didn't see it. I mean, I'm on.
It was a repost. You have to look at my replies. It was a repost.
Okay.
So this is what the car saw. This was, unfortunately, this is the downloaded version from the app, so it's very low resolution. I haven't got the high resolution. This is what the car saw. So you can see it there, and you can see if I get the shadow. The shadow it cast was rather large there.
That's
of the left
side. That is as close as it gets without hitting it.
I think so too, because if you look at the side view,
yes, you look at the thing.
It's like it's tumbling. Yeah, but I think it was maybe just startled,
or like that is just so close.
It's just cigarette paper close.
Yeah.
And like I said, this shadow right there, it's just a large shadow. That's a long shadow. So, look, it was absolutely frightening. And it goes without saying, if you want to avoid most of that situation, don't drive at night, you idiot. But I deliberately wanted to get data, because it was the first time any idiot had gone around a continent, and kangaroos are unique. And I knew that they wouldn't have much training data on it, because that's kind of difficult to get. And but like I said, it also highlights with that timer, it was 2.2 seconds from a kangaroo just starting to move to the whole event being completely over.
Yep.
And in that time, I'd gone from 100 kilometers an hour down to 58. Actually, that was 2.8 seconds, because I was still braking as the kangaroo went past. Anyway, all right.
Yeah, I'll just go back to that comment, my final point, if I may, Harold. So, you were talking about upgrading hardware 3s and stuff before. So here's my personal perspective. So I've got this 2022 vehicle, which is excellent. And with depreciation, it's horrible. And so, frankly, if Tesla came to me, and said, tomorrow we're going to put hardware 4 into your vehicle, and let's say I don't have FSD at this point, right? If you, as in me, pay for the hardware, we'll pay for the labor. This is what it costs. And frankly, for me now, I've got this 22 middle of the range all-wheel drive long 3. For me to get into the bottom of the range 3 now is at least 20 grand, if not 30 grand, with the depreciation on my vehicle, even though I only bought it a year ago. So for me, I'd rather keep this car, and from an environment point of view and sustainability point of view, it's much better. And I'll go, yeah, okay, for me to get into a new vehicle with FSD is going to be a large cost. And so I'll go, I'll pay $5,000 for the parts, you pay for the labor. Yeah, there'd be a lot of people like me who probably would buy that, as opposed to spending 30 or 40 grand. I mean, this time next year it'll be 40 grand to get into a new vehicle, because there's nothing wrong with my vehicle.
Nope, and you don't drive many Ks either, so it's actually...
No, I don't. Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't make sense to keep flipping it.
No.
Yeah, and look, I have no doubt that Tesla would certainly offer a hardware upgrade at a cost, absolutely certain, if you haven't gotten FSD yet. But yeah, like I said, I think the most frustrating thing for Hardware 3 owners who have either purchased FSD or desperately want to, especially now that they've seen other people driving around with it and seen the awesome videos and I can't underemphasize or overemphasize, sorry, or I can't emphasize enough just how relaxing it is. Like it's a game changer. I mean, the only thing that's annoying at the moment is the attention camera is dialed to like not just 11, it's dialed to like 111. So you take your eyes off the road for more than 2 seconds and it's barking at you. And that's a little bit annoying. But notwithstanding that, the way the car drives, and even though, it does a few naughty things, the combination of you as a supervisor and it as the primary driver or operator is already vastly safer than a human alone. And that's already on something that's only 90% there on the first flush.
Exactly.
So, we are literally seeing history before our eyes. And yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for all the other car manufacturers because they're not doing any of this stuff.
No.
And the Chinese manufacturers aren't, because the Chinese government specifically had a test and they participated in it to shut down freeways and all that sort of stuff, and expended probably a lot of money, because a lot of those things those cars bash into are sort of like cost money to rebuild or reconstruct and all that sort of stuff. And the Chinese government, I think, were quite intent on giving the local manufacturers a reality check to say, you think your little flash God's eyes and whatever else they call their autonomous driving features is nothing like even an old version of what Tesla had.
And
so,
like, personal experience, we're down to one car at the moment because my son was blinded by the sun going round a bend and he clipped a trailer. And I know that if he was in the Tesla would have steered him away from it, even though he couldn't see it properly.
Yep. And in fact, if you look at the cameras, it's quite surprising how well they do in direct sunset kind of environments where the sun's just glaring on your windscreen, which lights up like anything if you've got bugs or whatever on it, or if it's a bit dirty. But like I said, when I did a video of when I saw this, what to me looked like not pea soup fog, but very foggy, and to my frustration, the GoPros and the car just sees right through it. And it's like, yeah, but the way our eyes focus
Infrared,
and perceive, it's just looked a lot worse.
Yep.
And if it looks worse, it is worse, because we can only control what we see, or can only react to what we see. Alrighty, has anyone else got any other questions or comments on the last half hour of this awesome show?
Yeah, Harold.
Darren, yes, go.
I'm looking at doing a lap sort of maybe in a week or two's time. So,
oh, very good.
I spoke with Pete a couple of weeks back. While you
Which direction are you going in, Darren?
Looks like north now.
Yep.
So from Perth.
Very good.
Purely because I'm guessing it's starting to get warm up the top end of Australia.
Yes. Yep. I think Fitzroy Crossing was looking up towards 40 degrees, but that can vary a little bit. So it's getting nice and warm up there. So yeah, definitely, if you go north first, that's a great way to go.
So we're going to take a reasonable amount of time, I guess, sort of a month and a half, maybe month.
Perfect. Yep.
So, Pete mentioned something about so I've got the blue cable came today.
Yes.
And CCS2, I think it is, or whatever.
Yep.
And then a comms. Pete mentioned something about or is it cones?
Yep. So you got that as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
So Harold, if
No,
we could,
no, I haven't got that.
In one.
Okay. You're a lot less likely to need it, to be brutally honest. Okay. So if you look at my last lap that I just did a week and a bit ago, I used AC 3-phase in Camberwell. In Timber Creek, I used the blue cable equivalent, and basically I did use my blue box twice. Now that was Camberwell and Timber Creek. Everywhere else, I just used either DC chargers. Oh, and in Elliott. I got Elliott. Yeah, all right. You'll have to just ring me on 62 on Tokwa's helpline, which is 62623131, or better still, I'll put my mobile number in the chat if I can find the chat bit. Where's the chat? Here we go. But please don't text me.
Were you likely going down to Busselton this weekend?
I don't know that, Darren.
Okay.
I don't know that for certain, so I wouldn't be relying on that if I was you. So I just put that in the chat, my mobile number. Please don't text me, just ring me.
Yeah.
And then we can work out a time to get the cons. But you'll barely need it. If you're taking a month and a half, you probably won't need it. But yeah, it's only at Elliott, if you're charging at Elliott, because the 30 kilowatt CTEC, it loses comms all the time. But I mean, there's nothing stopping you from using your UMC and a 15 amp outlet. Oh, do get yourself a short extension cord.
For 15 amp.
Yeah, for the 15 amp, so that you can actually plug the head of the UMC into it, because it goes on a silly angle. It's like a 45-degree angle. It's in the 430 position or something like that. On an angle, it's not, and it's kind of heavy because the UMC is right near it because the tail's short. Actually, get yourself go to Bunnings and get a bit of cloth tape, like white cloth tape, because then you can always tape it up if you're at a caravan park, just to make sure the plug doesn't fall out, because then you'll be annoyed overnight if you wake up and the plug fell out 10 minutes after you went to bed. If you're using like a 10 or 15 amp outlet, because the KMAX, the outlets are usually facing downwards, so your plug plugs upwards, and then gravity just pulls it out.
Yep. Okay.
Harold,
and then
does your wife ever go with you on these laps at all? How many laps have you done?
Yeah, I've done 11. She went with me on my third lap, which included Tasmania, but we went anti-clockwise. So that was from Perth going directly east to Adelaide, Sydney, went to Hobart, went to Tasmania. She got to Darwin, which was 3/4 the way around, and ran out of the month. So she had a month leave. And then I just took a few days to get from Darwin and finish the lap to Perth. But no, my wife is less tolerant of my road tripping style, which is you just go flat out.
Mine too.
So
mine too.
Yeah, exactly. But Darren, just be mindful. I mean, you've taken plenty of time. Just a couple of good pro tips is, especially on the northern parts of the WIEV network, just make sure that you've got enough charge in your car to not just get to the next charger, but the one after. So, for example, charge up enough at Karratha to make it. Actually, Port Hedland's pretty good, But say at Port Hedland, your next stop is Pardue, which is not very far, but just put enough in your car to get to Sandfire. But do go to Pardue and fill up anyway. And then when you're at Pardue, get enough to get to Bidgidanga, even though your next stop is Sandfire, so that when you get to Sandfire, you can get enough to basically limp to Broome if you need to, even though you're going to use Bidgidanga. And you sort of keep doing that. Do you have a long range or a standard range car, Darren?
Just the rear wheel drive Y. A rear wheel drive Y, so
okay.
LFP.
So if you're going, so between Broome and Fitzroy Crossing is 400 kilometres. That's a little bit, it can be done. Pete and I have done it in a rear wheel drive Y. We've just taken it steady. It sort of helps if you do it, if you take off early in the morning and you do about 80 k's an hour. But you can also go to Derby. So, and I mean, I guess if you're going to do a trip around Australia, you might as well visit Derby because you probably haven't in the past. It's a great place to visit once, but not too many more times than that.
I've been around Australia quite a few times with caravan and four-wheel drive and that. But
yeah, cool. So you could either just do the Broome to Fitzroy Crossing traverse slowly, or just include Derby. I mean, Derby is an 80-kilometre diversion, but it means you get to charge up. Just beware, just on a daily basis, look at ChargeFox to see if the station is alive, any of the stations. Because to be honest, on my last lap, because I've done it so many times, every single time Baladonia worked for me. The WAV network off-grid site worked for me every single time. And in my defense, when I went to check it on ChargeFox, the stupid app, which by the way, the ChargeFox app is dumb in that you sometimes have to zoom in to very close to where you know you're going to go for the pin to actually appear at all, like any pins. And that can be quite frustrating. And it wasn't loading properly. Had it loaded properly, I would have seen a black pin, which then I would have looked at and been a bit more suspicious. However, often it's black because it's lost communications and is on free vend rather than actually being completely black. But in my case, it was completely black. So do use ChargeFox to look at the live status and then read through the comments in PlugShare, especially one or two comments earlier, to see if there's some weird behaviour at each site. Derby, the main thing that would be a problem might be vandalism. So just check that it hasn't been vandalised. Fitzroy Crossing has been vandalised, but sort of works just, and the same as Halls Creek. But yeah, just do it. Obviously, you're going to do it slowly, but just make sure you sort of take it steady and don't put yourself in a situation where you rely on charging at the next location and there's no alternative. Always set yourself up with an alternative. And if it's a whole 6 weeks you're going to take, you're only averaging a few hundred Ks a day anyway. So even if you're charging on a 10 amp outlet or wherever you're staying, you'll be able to get enough charge for the next day anyway. And obviously feel free to ring me any time at all if you feel nervous about something or stuck or whatever. And the thing too is, if you're road tripping and the car's suddenly saying, I'm not going to make it, just slow down. For every 10% that you slow down, you get a compounded about 12 and a bit percent compounding increase in range. And that can make a big difference. So there's only a few little tricks and tips and tricks that you need. But like I said, feel free to ring at any time. And then ring me tomorrow whenever you like.
A good rule of thumb, Darren, from what Harold was just saying, is if you drop your speed from 110 to 90 kilometres an hour, you'll gain about 30% of your remaining range. So that makes a big, so rather than arriving with 100 kilometres left, you'll have 130. So it makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Thanks for that.
But just enjoy it. It's awesome fun. Oh, but do when you're in Fitzroy Crossing, Halls Creek, and some other places, just put your pin to drive on. Because one vulnerability is if your car is not plugged into a charger and you are nearby the car, if someone jumps in, presses their foot on the brake and puts the car in gear, it'll drive off and there's nothing you'll be able to do about it. And sadly,
we
there's a
normally have
lot
pins
of...
to drive around Perth here anyway, so.
Oh, yeah, cool. Okay, well, in that case, just leave it on when you're in the Kimberley, and in some places in the Territory. It's just what happens.
I know what it's like up there.
Yeah. Yep. Me too. Cool. All right, we're in the last 10 minutes. So, have we got any maybe last drinks or comments, questions or comments?
Just going to say something, Harold, everyone.
Yes, mate.
Yeah, Tesla, they're now offering the FSD trials as well. Yes.
Oh.
So
Cool.
yeah, I went to O'Connor on Saturday, and what happens is the Tesla advisor goes with you, and he takes you first, shows you it, and then on the way back, you sit there and the car drives yourself. So yeah, it was my first experience, and yeah, it's just breathtaking. It's just yeah. That was it was a Model 3 as well, so it didn't have the the front bumper camera. But yeah, highly recommended for anyone who's on hardware free like myself and wants to experience it. It's it's obviously quite short, 10-15 minutes, but yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I guess
they're actually offering the same thing at Osborne Park now as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I guess Matt, it'll sort of almost make you want to recalculate the present value of your car and go, do I get myself into a hardware 4 version or just wait patiently?
Yeah, I've seen the new Model Y Performance, and it looks great, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of money though. I paid over 100 for mine, and yeah, it's gonna be painful.
Yes, it is. Yep. So you either live once and just whatever, get over it, or yeah, I mean, certainly if you were, if I was your mother, I'd say, what are you wasting money on cars? Just buy Tesla shares instead. Not personal advice, but financial advice. But yeah.
No, I'm very pleased I did do that as well. It's good. I think I got in about 180.
Yeah. Don't tell us how many. But yes, there's a few of us in the room that are quite pleased that we bought Tesla shares when we did. The only thing wrong with our purchase was it wasn't a couple of years earlier, because we could have probably gotten quite a few more. But anyway, it's all good.
Yeah.
Cool, very good. But it's great to hear that they're doing. And look, it makes sense that at this stage they are chaperoned. Because again, there's a small chance that the car might do something that people don't expect, and it's just much better if you've got someone that's familiar with it to show you the ropes, and then you can effectively be shown the ropes afterwards on the way back. So that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
But in time, I think with a couple of updates, they'll probably just do it unchaperoned once they know it's behaving a little bit better.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, Mike, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I just saw an X post earlier today that I don't know what you call it, the slightly fixed up Model 3 is shipping in Japan, Korea, and China, I suspect. There were 3 countries anyway. So this is a Model 3, the current version, but it has a stalk and a front camera, plus, I guess, other bits and pieces. So they're actually shipping those 4.
Very good. Okay, so what will almost be certain is that those cars, those 3s with a stalk, will only have a single tap of the right scroll wheel to activate.
Yes.
Autopilot or TAC. Guarantee you.
The steering wheel is part of the change from the cut, because obviously they've got to take off the indicators and put on something.
It'll be the Model Y Juniper steering wheel, effectively.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But I just saw that today, that they're actually shipping now. to those places. So, but are they right-hand or left-hand drive?
Japan certainly is right-hand, so
same as us.
That's us, same as us. Yep.
That means it could be coming here before the end of the year, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And there's no reason to believe that we would be left out, particularly since Japan's right-hand drive. So, yeah, it's probably coming here too. It's just that they haven't announced it, and that's classic Tesla too. Sometimes.
Yes.
Cool. Alrighty. Any other last questions, or we might outro this awesome show? No, nothing. Or I mean, not nothing. We've had a great show, and also Joel, thanks for joining us through the hot center of this earth, through the magic of the interwebs, and yeah. Well, don't be a stranger. Feel free to join us anytime you like. In the daytime, broad daylight, which is very civilized.
Is he from the future or the past? That's the question.
No, he's from the past. Well, no, he's from the past. He is about 12 hours behind us, and a day too. So, what day is it for you, Joel? It must be still Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. No, it is Wednesday morning. It's when. Oh no, you're muted. Oh no, you're not. That's weird. You're not muted, but I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
No, actually, I'm muted in the car. Sorry.
Yes. So yeah. Very good.
It's a little bigger of a button than pushing on the phone. Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday
at
morning.
9:30.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good. Yeah. So he's not joining us from the future. We are joining. He's joining. We are joining him from the future.
Well, it's a beautiful day so far.
Excellent, fantastic. Well, it's all the more better for having seen us, no doubt. Now let me just set this up. Oh yeah. Okay, so Pete, how would you round out an awesome show like this, as if I didn't already know?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy and abundance. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Please do, if you're local, join us this Sunday at 11:30 at the Busselton Pavilion. But in the meantime, have a wonderful week, and I really do look forward to joining you on next week's episode of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Good night.